and today we're gonna look at Ker Nethalas Into the Midnight Throne. And I'm very new to solo RPGs, and this is actually the first game that I tried after looking through some reviews on the internet and having a good read of the book. I might make some mistakes here and there, so please pardon me, and perhaps you could let me know where I went wrong, or perhaps even give me some tips on how to play the game better. So my whole point of having this channel is to share my experience as a solo RPG gamer, and hopefully to meet like-minded people who enjoy solo RPGs, to comment and to share your own experiences with me. Right, so let's go right into it. Okay, so first of all, I think the easiest way to start off with the game would be, of course, to read. I know that some game books are not structured in a way that it's easy to play it because of how the chapters are structured, how the rules are structured sometimes. So in my opinion, I think this is pretty well structured as a game book, and it's not very confusing for me. I find it quite easy to go into. Right, so yeah, let me explain a little bit on what I have on my screen here. So I know people play with pen and paper, but I personally find that with a laptop and using PowerPoint slides could help a lot. So this is my way of playing. This is actually a resource I found on the internet, where this is a quick start guide. In my opinion, the player reference is very useful for starters. So it tells me immediately where should I go into to start building a character in this slide. So let's look into it. Character creation. So first of all, determine the reason why you're in Ker Nethalas, which is on page 14. So I have some little bookmarks that I've made. This made my reference of the rules and all very easy. Right, creating your Subibor. Before you even open your eyes, a whiff of nauseating stench hits you, immediately causing you to heave, the bitter taste of bile in your mouth. Your whole body hurts, and you can feel an intense burning around your neck. With some hesitation, you manage to sit up from the pile of soft refuse you appear to be lying on top of. To your horror, you quickly discover that this is not garbage, but a pile of decaying human corpses. Bloated faces and sunken eyes stare blankly at you, illuminated by a single ray of sunlight coming from very high above your head. A flood of memories comes rushing back. You were executed. You quickly stand up, your head swimming, while you check your throat. You immediately wince in pain, the flesh tender to the touch. There's no doubt about it. You were hanged. You try to speak, but the words come out as a grunt. Your throat too damaged and dry to produce any other sound. You turn away from the rotting pile of flesh and look around you. You find yourself within a large empty chamber, the only light coming from a hole some 30 meters above. There's no way you will be able to climb back up there. Rats the size of cats itch around you, nibbling on the dead, too fat and well fed to even bother hiding or fighting each other for the best bits. Ahead of you, you see what appears to be a crack in the wall, wide enough for you to go through. There's no doubt in your mind where you are. Ker Nethalas, the Midnight Throne. Everyone in Valdonia has heard the stories about the vast underground necropolis that was once the capital of the Valorian ascendancy before their demise. You also know that nobody has ever come back alive from such a place. Considering you're in rags, injured and exhausted, your chances are not good. Somehow though, you've cheated death, and there must be a way out of here. Hesitantly, you head towards the breach in the wall, hoping to find something you can use to increase your chances of survival. You are alive, barely, but alive. You've been punished for a crime that you may or may not have committed. But Aneria smiles upon you, and against all odds, you're still among the living. To begin with, choose a name, gender, age, and overall appearance. Write on the character sheet that you are level 1. You are now ready to start making your character. So over here, I will roll a d20 to find out which crime I was accused of and why I was executed. So here's my d20. So 2. So witchcraft. Accusations of practicing witchcraft are common in Valdonia, and those executed often face trials and punishments such as imprisonment or execution. So I was accused of witchcraft, and I'm gonna put it in my character sheet. Okay. And I'm supposed to create a name for the character. Let's name this character. Maybe I will select a female character, Athena. How about that? And back to the rules reference. Determine your attributes, page 16. So I can actually decide on my health, toughness, either sanity, magic resistance, exhaustion, and so on. So d6 plus 8. 5. It's 5 plus 8, that's a 13. Put here 13 health. Toughness d2d6 plus 10. 5 and 4, 9 plus 10, that's 19. Either d6 plus 8, 5 plus 8. Pretty good rolls. It's another 13. Pretty good roll so far. Sanity, that's a 3 plus 8, that's 11. And part of the reason why I enjoy using the laptop, doing it over digital, is that I can remove, I can erase, I can change the values very easily. Magic resistance, I got 20. So start with 20. Moving on to character skills. Okay, acrobatics I have 10. So the number in the bracket, I'm supposed to start off with the value. And it says here, after applying the starting scores, which is inside the bracket, add the following skill allotments to your skills. Okay, so weapon skills would be over here. We have bladed weapons, bludgeoning weapons, shafted weapons, unarmed combat and fist weapons, and so on. Okay, so I will choose maybe let's see. I like to look at my character's attributes and then determine what kind of a build would be beneficial or suitable for the character attributes. But in this case, health, toughness, either are all pretty high. Either is a little low as compared to the rest. It's a representation of character's spiritual and psychic power used to cast spells. So in this case, I would think this character is more suitable for melee combat rather than a spellcaster. But of course that's subjective, and these attributes can be modified through items and so on. Okay, sanity represents a character's ability to maintain fully lucid and sane despite many horrors of that they witness. Magic resistance as well, so that's 20, it's fine. Let me look at the weapons table to have an idea what I can possibly use. Weapons. Okay, so we are here, weapons. Okay, there's non-magical weapons. They deal d6 damage. Defensive, quick parrying, powerful. Simple, two-handed, versatile. So these add to the checks, as you can see here, which would be great for me to choose what kind of weapon I possibly may want to start with or use. Alright, so the weapon list actually classifies what kind of damage, speed as well, and the skill. So, and also the notes, if it's a two-handed weapon, a quick weapon, simple weapon, and so on. And since most weapons are just d6 in terms of damage, so it doesn't really matter, I think, in terms of the type of weapon that I choose, more than its attributes and the skills and the notes that they have. They provide me with the advantage here. So I might want to go with something that is quick, because that gives me a plus 10 to initiative checks, right? And powerful, that increase damage by 1, that's fine. Usually with these are, I would imagine, like two-handed weapons. Simple weapon increases your combat skill by 10, that's not too bad either. So it's all great. I would go with quick. Right, so simple and quick. You see you have 2. This seems like a good weapon, a sheath. What should I choose? I would go with the sheath. Yep, I would go with the sheath. It's a piercing bladed weapon, simple and quick. So I would put over here bladed weapons 60. Right, so I've selected the plus 60 to my weapon skill, and I get plus 40 and plus 30 to 3. Okay, for weapons I have another one. So maybe let's choose unarmed combat and fist weapons. Maybe not. I would go for perhaps... Okay, shafted weapons sounds good. 40. Okay, plus 30 to 3 skills, 20 to 3 skills, and 10 to 4 skills. So I might want to take a look at the description of these other skills that I have: acrobatics, athletics, and so on. So acrobatics would be something where it involves me closing a gate, swinging across a chasm on a rope, or holding a balance on precarious edge. Athletics would be difficult feats. Maybe I'll go with athletics first. So this sounds good. 30. That's the first one. I would go for things like perception would be great. Perception would be something to do with ability to sense, to see or hear things. Stealth is great too. You will find out. I think this too would be great, and we'll find out why later on. 30, there's another 30. Perception, another 30. Okay, so I've got 3 skills, that is 30. And 20 to 3 skills as well, so I would go for dodge. I would imagine this would be great for dodging attacks, right? Attempts to disengage from melee fight. That's great. Endurance, resist the outcome of certain effects. Okay, let's see. I would go for this one. And scavenge would be great too. Okay, I've got my 3 plus 20, and I've got 4 skills plus 10. So maybe I would go with acrobatics. Yeah, 10. 1, 2, 3. Reason. 4. Thievery. Okay, medicine. Combat with 1 bandage, a medicine check recovers D4 toughness. This is great as well. So maybe I don't want thievery. I would go for medicine. Okay, so I've got my 4 plus 10 down. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the rest is 3. 1, 2, 3, and 3 plus 30. 1, 2, 3. Right, so I've got my character skills chosen. Alright, so we have done the character skills and attributes. Now we move on to masteries. So I'm supposed to pick 2 masteries, which I am able to gain the passive benefits. So they're all on page 19 over here, and there are 20 different masteries I can choose from, and I can pick 2. Sometimes I get a third one via an amulet, for example. That allows me to have a third mastery. And I start with 2 ability points where I can spend each one of them on a different mastery. And I can start the game with 2 passive benefits as well after picking the mastery, and add the tier 1 ability of each of the 2, as it states over here. So looking at my character in terms of attributes and skills, I would probably go for, I think, a character that is primarily good at combat, melee combat, more than magic. And perhaps my second mastery, I would go for a mastery that gives me some spell casting or some summoning of like, for example, a raised skeleton. I think this is pretty interesting to play, so I would go for, okay, I would pick Stonebrand, Ritualist. These are more magic users. Weapon Master, this is pretty cool. Okay, choose a weapon and the weapon skill is increased by 10 and the damage you deal by d4 when wielding it. And tier 1 gives me an evasive strike. Standard action requires a melee attack check. You strike at the opponent while at the same time sidestepping the attack. If you score a hit, your next defensive check receives plus 10. I think this is pretty cool. So go back here to my character sheet and I will pick my mastery here. Okay, so the first one I would just put it over here, Weapon Master. Plus 10 weapon skill, plus d4. Here, one skill that I have would be Evasive Strike, which says melee attack check. Some notes over here. I would go for this as my second mastery. Brave Caller. Grave Caller. I would choose Grave Caller as my second mastery. I think the raised skeletons are pretty interesting, and so on. It's like a Necromancer class. Okay, tier 1 will be raised skeleton, so I'm gonna put it over here. Two standard actions requires a corpse. Cost 5 either. So what that means is probably I would, in my combat, I would need to do 2 actions instead of 1, which we will explore at a later part of the game how this comes into play with the mechanics. Okay, and actually I can also find out, add a little flavor to find out where I train. I think this is part of the beauty of playing these solo RPGs, having a more rich experience with some lore and background history and so on, aside from the very engaging mechanics of combat, exploration and so on. So let me find out where do I train. I'm gonna roll a 6, so that's Bahatu Island. Shrouded in perpetual mist, Bahatu Island is a desolate place where necromancers seeking mastery over undead converge. With its cursed atmosphere and haunted ruins, the Owl offers an ideal training ground for the study of necromancy. Students delve into forbidden texts, learn the secrets of soul manipulation, and practice raising and controlling various types of undead creatures under the guidance of the animatic mentors who call the place their home. Interesting. Bahatu Island, right? It sounds somewhere in Southeast Asia. And I'm supposed to also know, I could know, for my Weapon Master, where did I train? So it's over here, Weapon Master. I'm glad they are organized in alphabetical order, so it makes it easy for you to search. Okay, 5. So I am from Peak. Gala is a revered training ground for warriors seeking to master art of melee combat. The school is led by a master who possesses unparalleled skill in a wide range of weapons. Students undergo rigorous physical training, spar with fellow practitioners, and receive personalized instruction on weapon techniques. The serene atmosphere and breathtaking vistas inspire a deep connection between the warriors and their chosen weapons. Interesting. I was from the mountains. Okay, so I have my 2 masteries selected. And what's next would be, I will go back here to see where it directs me to. Okay, character progression, so that's on page 60. Talk about skill improvement and so on. If you roll doubles when making a skill check, which we do not need to know right now. Skill improvements, leveling up and so on. So I will skip this first. And then look at perhaps what's the remaining things I have to do for character creation. So I've got pretty much almost a lot of things here already. Personal goals, let's have a look at that. Aside from surviving, you can set goals for your character as you explore the never-ending maze of Ker Nethalas. Only 2 personal goals can be chosen and pursued at a time. And once chosen, they cannot be changed. As soon as you complete one though, you are free to choose another one from the list of available ones. Be aware that personal goals typically take a long time, multiple domains, or gaming sessions to complete. So I'm on the next part of personal goals that I need to select for my character. So it says here, aside from simply surviving, you can set goals for your character as you explore the never-ending maze of Ker Nethalas. Only 2 personal goals can be pursued at a time. Once chosen, cannot be changed. As soon as you complete one, you are free to choose another one from the list available. And personal goals take a long time to complete. They take over multiple domains or sessions. And once you complete your personal goal, you get a reward. Okay, here's what's recommended. Overseer Overthrown would be one of the personal goals that the book recommends. Since the reward will also grant you access to a 3rd mastery, which is invaluable to your character, I think, in terms of surviving. Okay, so I would pick what's recommended here, which is Overseer Overthrown. Yep, great. And I can pick a second one. Okay, let's see. That would be these are actually inclined to, some of them are really inclined to the type of mastery that you pick, or the character that you have chose, the skills that you have specialized in. For example, bladed weapons is my highest at 60 points, so naturally I would want to pick that to get the advantage of having the skill sets. We would go for bladed weapon master. Basically, I would need to defeat 50 opponents with bladed weapon skill to get a +1 damage when wielding a bladed weapon. Okay, I'm gonna put that down too. Okay, and maybe I will pick something that's more apt for my Necromancer mastery later on. What I found useful for continuing the character creation would be inside this chapter over here, Stepping into Darkness. So there's a short narrative on the situation you're in, and due to hard beginnings, you suffer some stats over here due to the dire circumstances. So number 1 would be d6 direct damage. It will impact my toughness for starts. Okay, so I roll a d6. So direct damage. So where does it state damage? If you want to look at damage, it will be inside this chapter here. Okay, dealing damage, it's over here. So I'm not supposed to compare the chart. It's a direct roll on the die. Right, over here is a conversion of a d10, I believe. And there's a conversion table. So for example, if I roll a 5 or a 7, a 5 to a 7, I would have 2 damage dealt, which will go directly to affect my toughness. Right, so the rules of the game is that when they first receive any damage, we reduce the toughness, which is over here. And once toughness has reached 0, then the additional damage will go on to be deducted from health. And also it states some other rules which I will not go in depth at this point because we do not need to know that yet. Okay, so I will roll the die, a d6 direct damage die, a 2. Well done. So I would begin my toughness with 17. Okay, and here health I should have 13. Okay, so these will all begin with the full scores except, okay, sanity and exhaustion. Sanity a d4, so I'll roll a d4 for my sanity. A 2 as well, so I have 11 minus 2, that will be 9. A character's exhaustion resistance score is subtracted from the current exhaustion total. The final result is then compared to the table on page 78 to determine the effects. New character starts with 0 exhaustion, so right now I start with 1 exhaustion. Right, that I've just indicated here, and the resistance currently is, I have no resistance, that's 0. Okay, right, I think I'm good with that. So it states here the first domain, if this is your first ever playthrough, there's actually a domain, so they call a series of dungeons a domain, and I presume after you've killed the overseer, the boss, so-called, in the domain, you probably will move on, you exit the domain, and you'll go on to another domain, and to find another overseer and kill him, or be killed. Right, if I don't feel like starting this domain, I can start the game by jumping straight into the standard exploration procedures found in Chapter 4. New characters that start this way commence the game with the following. I get a weapon of choice, 1 random armor from random armor table, 1 torch, cooking supplies, crafting supplies, and a d20. I would presume this is the gold, where I can buy weapons or buy supplies, more for trading, I imagine. So I will continue to get all these things done. Okay, so first of all, I would choose a weapon. Okay, and of course, looking through the weapon table, I have more or less selected something that I would want, that is more suited for the skills that I have, the advantage that I have with my masteries. Now back here, weapons table. Okay, and I can choose one. I would choose the shield. So I've got quick and simple. So what this gives me is I can increase my combat skill by 10, and quick. This weapon grants the character plus 10 to initiative checks, so I can put them down here. So I have a sheath. The skill would be simple and quick. Next, I can choose a random armor from the armor table. Over here, these are all the tables for the random items. The random armor, random weapon, and so on. So I would go on to roll under this table with a d20. Okay, that's a 9. That would be under Vambraces. So Vambraces, it would be from over here, piecemeal armor. So light, medium, or heavy. I've got Vambraces. I rolled a 9, and I'm supposed to roll a d100 to determine whether it's light, medium, or heavy. And of course, heavy armors, they are also disadvantages to speed, I believe. I've got a 58. That would be a medium Vambraces that I have. So I go on to Vambraces, which is over here. Here it states protection and given integrity, and I will go on to my equipped gear table and indicate what I have here. So I have got Vambraces, medium Vambraces, and basically the protection I would state, so what's indicated here, 2 protection, integrity. Integrity means how long this armor can. So I've selected the weapon, I've selected an armor, and I get a torch which I will equip on my offhand. Instead over here, the offhand is a torch and my main hand is my weapon. I've got D10 cooking supply, so I will roll a D10. That's a 5. 5 cooking supplies, I'm going to put it here. D10 plus 5 crafting supplies. That's a 9, that's 19. That's a 9, so that's not 19, that's 14. Okay, and I have no rations and I've got 20 coins, which I've indicated here. And one final note about a torch would be that as you're traveling from room to room or dungeon to dungeon, you need a torch, and this you need a light source, obviously, and you can find it over here. It states about the light source. Okay, it's always dark, and you need a light source with you. Oil lamps, even spells, and so on. Belt lamps and other items are the only way of getting around this. So you must have a free hand to hold a torch or lamp, it states here clearly. And a regular torch or lamp will remain lit for 20 rooms. Use your light source tracker on your character sheet to keep track. So if you lack a light source, your character will be blinded, where I believe you can find it on the conditions page to know how does it affect your character. And also you need to pass a resolve check every time the character enters a new room or lose 1 sanity. So these are the penalties of not having a light source. So I'm going to go on to indicate my torch. So I'm going to go on to indicate my torch over here. So I have 20, over here there's 20 rooms, so I'm going to cross out 1 each time I go to 1 room. It states here, so I'm at 20. And now we have come to the end of character creation. We have a fully built character that is ready for some dungeon crawling action, as we have done. And we will look at mechanics of the game, exploration and combat and so on in the next session maybe. So what's useful as a recap, you should have your player's rules reference over here, which really helps you move on to playing the game. Character sheet, which is readily available, you could download it somewhere, and table reference sheets, these are also available, which are really helpful, though you don't really need them because you have your book, right? And what I found useful is creating an avatar for my character. So Athena is the character's name. Mastery, I am a weapons master. Weapon master and / grave caller. Alright, and I can even choose something online, an image perhaps that fits my character, and these will be useful. We'll find out, we'll talk more about it in the next session on having these as your template for combat. And thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed.